Namaste, all my beautiful people. How are you doing tonight? Well, as you can see, I'm not in my office. Welcome to the alternate point of view. My name is Tracy Lee. I have been catching up on the Daniel Garcia trial that is happening right here in Texas, just a couple of hours away from me in San Antonio. I am in Austin, and some people mentioned this on my live the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta check this out. I did not know this was going on, and I have to say, wow. It brings me back to Harmony Montgomery. It brings me back to Gannon Stauch. It takes me back to Lori, the Daybell stuff. It just is like absolutely heartbreaking. The shocking thing about this trial for me that I've been seeing so far is that they actually showed the faces and they're saying the names of the children. They showed the video in the hallway with all the kids. And I'm shocked that this guy is pleading not guilty. And I'm also shocked that the mother made a plea deal for 15 years to testify against this guy. And it's just an absolutely horrific crime. So for those of you that don't know about the Daniel Garcia trial, this happened in San Antonio. Apparently Daniel met Nicole in Florida. They both had 2 kids each, and Daniel and Nicole moved from Florida to San Antonio so that Daniel could be closer to his 2 children here in San Antonio, where his ex was living. And they brought Nicole's 2 kids, Domenic and her daughter. I won't say her name, but they brought her kids, and apparently Daniel had a couple of dogs as well. He had a very small car, from what I could tell. It was like a Volkswagen, 4-door Volkswagen. But they had 4 kids between the 2 of them, and he had 2 dogs. And they were living in motels in San Antonio. If you don't know about San Antonio, I used to live in San Antonio like almost 30 years ago, you guys. So that was a really long time ago. And back then, San Antonio was small, and it didn't have they were still building 1604. Which was a loop 1604 that looped around San Antonio. Now San Antonio is got even bigger roads. But I recognize the names of the roads that they're saying in this trial. The strange thing about this trial, again, is not even that just that they're showing the faces and the videos of these minor children, but even saying their names, but also the defense team, when they did their opening arguments, as I have been saying in the Christopher Gregory trial, would it be better if Christopher Gregory had a female attorney? Would it be more helpful to have a softer side because of the horrificness of the case? Maybe if he had a female attorney and not this pit bull male attorney. But after seeing the female attorney get up and do the opening statements for Daniel Garcia, I can see that no, it would not be helpful, because this attorney was not great in the opening statements. She kept saying the same thing over and over again, that actions speak louder than words, actions speak louder than words, which was really a terrible opening statement to me, because you're right. Actions do speak louder than words. The mother of this poor child murdered her child with this guy and drove all the way from San Antonio to Colorado, and drove in a car with her dead son in a car seat and traveled to Colorado, and then threw him out like trash and dumped him down a ravine. And not just that, but threw water bottles down to try and get his body to fall further down so he wouldn't be found. But that didn't work. So apparently according to the mother, Daniel wrapped a rope or something around his body and tied it around the steering wheel of the car and climbed down this ravine to roll the boy down further so he wouldn't be seen, and then commenced to climb himself back up. And instead of her, like, I don't know, tossing the dude down, cutting the rope off and letting him fall to his death and calling 911, no, she helped him up and never once called 911, never called for help. No, actually, they drove all the way from Texas, dumped her child, and then drove from Colorado to Mexico. And apparently, now, I guess I'm completely stupid when it comes to geography, because I didn't know that you could drive to Nicaragua and Ecuador and Costa Rica without a passport. Yeah, apparently that's really easy. So this happened in July of 2021. Domenic's body was discovered in August. So this is like hot summer. And by the time they find his body, now they have fled the country. Daniel apparently got the mother of his children to get his children before they left San Antonio. So he didn't have his children, but Nicole still had her daughter and Domenic, from what I can tell, and his two dogs. Apparently you can go across different countries with animals. I don't know how this works. This is just the wildest story I've ever heard. But apparently she agreed to come back to the country and help find her son. But yet she traveled with this guy. She still loves this guy. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, just listening to this story, every witness that has been put up on the stand, they put up the mother, Nicole. She testified against Daniel. Apparently it was all him. According to the mother, they left this little boy, and it shows on the video numerous times where they left the hotel room and walked down the stairs, and they had all the kids except Domenic. They left him in the room, in the bathroom. They would leave the room with the kids, return, leave with the kids again, leaving Domenic, and just back and forth, several different times. And then at one point, you can see where they leave with Domenic, and you can see Daniel is kind of manhandling him down the stairs. And Domenic is holding his pelvic area, so he's clearly in some kind of pain and having trouble walking up and down the stairs. And Daniel grabs him and just kind of snatches him up. And when they get outside, Nicole says that Domenic starts throwing up. And she says Daniel takes him back upstairs and into the bathroom. And when he returns without Domenic, his pants are wet. And he says that he grabs Nicole and takes her upstairs. And Domenic is in the bathtub and he is unconscious. And now Nicole says that they bring all the kids upstairs and they stay in this hotel room with all the kids and Domenic in the bathtub, unconscious, and all the kids sleep. And I guess they're trying to scramble together and figure out what they're going to do. And they decide to get the baby mama for Daniel to come get his kids. And then she apparently, when they do leave the hotel, straps Domenic into the car seat, covers him up, and they leave and go to Colorado, because she says she always promised her kids that they would see the snowy mountains, and she thought that would be a good place to take him. It's just so terrible and it's just so awful. But she says that Daniel would discipline her children and she allowed it. I don't understand, but apparently he broke Domenic's jaw. Apparently he had some rib damage. There was testimony from the FBI, testimony from the forensic team, testimony from the coroner. What's crazy to me is the defense team didn't question anyone. They didn't cross-examine anyone except the mother, Nicole, because they were basically trying to make her, of course, because she's involved, you took a plea deal. You took 15 years to testify against our client, and it was you. You did this, didn't you? You did this. Well, duh, but she got a plea deal out of it. Also, I noticed that the defense team is laughing and making jokes on their side, and I'm like, what is so funny here? And then Daniel, he looks like this straight-laced guy. He doesn't give a crap. Now, this guy's got zero emotion. He clearly doesn't care. I don't think he has a care in the world, to be honest. His defense team seems unfazed. They're not cross-examining any witnesses. They're not showing any photos, unless there's not any photos that are showing any pictures or anything of Domenic. They're not showing any more pictures of the kids. Apparently, Daniel's daughter, who was 4 at the time, is going to testify. I'm wondering if they're going to have Daniel actually testify, since they're not cross-examining any of the witnesses that the prosecution has put on. Because I don't really know what their strategy is or what, because they're not defending their defendant. They're not questioning anything. They're not anything. It's very odd, very, very odd. So I'm curious as to what their defense is, other than they're saying that the mother did it. But Daniel did all the driving. Daniel was there. I mean, they haven't put forth any other defense other than to say that the mother did it. But I mean, he was there. He drove. It was his car. I don't really know what their strategy is. All I know is listening to this horrific situation, what happened to this poor little boy, is awful. And then to hear the testimony from the FBI agent, if you don't know what larva is, obviously it's maggots. They had to, the things that happened to this little boy while he was alive and how he had to die, and then the aftermath that happened to him, the decomposition, the larva that was all in and out of his body. And then, of course, the autopsy, and then they had to send his skeletal remains to an anthropologist in Virginia. Just the desecration of this poor little boy not getting any peace is just absolutely awful. I can't believe how disgusting and sad and just what kind of horrific people these two are. I don't think that it's fair that she's only getting 15 years. And obviously he's going to face what hopefully will be life without parole, maybe death. I don't even know what's on the table for him. But it's just awful to hear. But again, the defense is not questioning, they're not cross-examining anyone, so I don't know what their defense is. And again, it's not up to the defense. They don't have to prove anything. They just have to defend their client, but they're not defending him. He's pleading not guilty on all charges. So he has zero defense. He drove, he was there, he's in all the videos. And by the way, he looks completely different, obviously. He's dressed in a nice button-down shirt, he has a tie, he's covered, long sleeves. But, when you see him in the videos, he's like got, tattoos. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he looks like a completely different person, okay? He lied. Obviously, he told his baby mama he was going back to Florida for work. He had to leave, but technically he was leaving the country. She said that she was trying to get in touch with him, trying to figure out what was going on. He wasn't giving her any money for the kids, and he wasn't really being very clear to her. He was acting like he had no reception. He wasn't talking to the kids. So it was just kind of crazy that the lack of communication he was having, but he was on the run. And they were trying to find somewhere to put the little boy. It's just very sad. It's awful. And I just find the defense odd. Their behavior is odd, and I don't like them. I shouldn't say that. They're probably good attorneys. I don't know, but I'm not finding them to be good attorneys. The man attorney is not very, he's kind of ew. And the female attorney is her behavior is very unprofessional. I mean, they're laughing. You don't laugh at a child death trial. That's horrible. And again, Daniel Garcia is not showing much emotion at all. He seems pretty lackadaisy about this. Like, I think I don't know what his deal was or what made him do this when he had kids of his own. But I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get on the stand in his own defense. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Do you think that that's what their plan is for him to get on the stand in his own defense? Because they're not cross-examining any of these witnesses. The only one they've cross-examined for the most part is the mother. And she's already made a plea deal. So there's not really much they can get out of her because she's made a plea deal. So what do you guys think? If you haven't seen this trial, it's pretty awful. I mean, absolutely awful. It's hard to watch these trials, especially when they have to do with children, and there's so many of them going on at the same time. There are other trials going on as well that obviously have to do with children. It's absolutely, to me, it just seems like it's like an epidemic or something. Like, what is wrong with these people? But yeah, it's disgusting. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. If you have anything to add, let me know. If anyone's been really paying attention and watching this, please put it in the comments. I appreciate everyone so much. We are going to do a live on Tuesday for Christopher Gregor and watch Dr. Bodden testify and see what he has to bring to the table for this case. And we're going to look out for possibly Christopher testifying. So yeah, I look forward to that. So don't forget to tune in for the live on Tuesday. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys. In the meantime, I will put together another video, and I am going to try to learn how to watch a trial and do a live at the same time. Or else I'm going to have to bring my TV into my office, and I don't know how that's going to work, y'all. Okay, I appreciate y'all so much, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your comments. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you all for keeping me in check. It's always great to have a check the checker, and I thank you all for doing that. Korean facts. I have forgotten to give you those. We are almost at the end of Asian Heritage Month. So Korean facts. You won't hear Koreans say good morning to you. We say, have you eaten? Also, Koreans don't make small talk. You don't see Koreans smiling or saying, making small talk while you're on a bus or a train or, passing by. They actually think that's weird. They're not like Americans like that at all. Usually, if you try to make small talk with Koreans in South Korea, they usually think they're trying to be dragged into a cult, or they're trying to be scammed for money. So no, they don't like that. Yeah, so those are a couple of Korean facts for you. And I hope you enjoy these videos, and keep liking, subscribing, and sharing. And I hope you like my new intro, and I will see you in the next video. 감사합니다.